Coming to you from sunny California and the Great White North. Get ready. We are breaking down the obstacles on the Armchair Ninja Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Armchair Ninja Podcast. It is Friday, August 11th, 2017. My name is Rich, and joining me once again this week is Bijan. How you making out?
I'm good, man. I'm a year older and feeling great. A little sore because I did a 3-hour insane circuit with my girlfriend. I'm still questioning why I did that because everything hurts. But enough with that, man. Enough with that chat. Let me get your autograph, bro. Somebody had his 5 seconds of fame online.
I did. In this week's Crashing the Course, for those that didn't see it, I get a little segment right in the middle. So for the first time ever, we're covering something that features one of us in not just a background, actually have a few lines.
Yeah, if you ever wanted to know what Rich looks like, now's your opportunity, y'all.
Yeah, can't recommend it enough. It is a brilliant cinematic masterpiece right in the middle of Crashing the Course.
Nice.
It is what it is. We'll talk about it. We'll cover it at the end of the episode. First, we have to get to the Daytona Finals, the city finals this week.
Yeah, man. Daytona Finals, it was pretty dope. I've got to say, like, the original Daytona, like, qualifiers, it was, like, kind of middle tier, right, Rich? I wasn't insane about it, but I wasn't, like, harsh on it either. It was just middle tier. I really like these finals, though. I mean, it gave us everything we were hoping for. But, I mean, I don't know if I want to talk about it now or later with Jessie's run, but I have to say, the way they spoiled Jessie's run really bothered me, because for how amazing her run was, it would have been so much better if we just didn't know that she would have gotten through everything that was, like, leading up to it, like the rolling thunder and everything. Like, I already knew she got past it because they literally spoiled it the entire week. So that was really frustrating for me.
And I feel awesome because I did not have it spoiled, and I lost my mind at that point, so it was great.
Really, you didn't see any of the previews? Not even, like, last week's preview, like, right after the episode?
Nope.
Dude, I need to get on that level, because I was thoroughly upset.
Lots of people were. I saw Jessie post a spoiler-free version, so I knew to avoid, like, everything all week. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, they did something bad in last week's previews and stuff. So I avoid them typically, but I made extra short after that.
Dude, I really need to get on your level. It was pretty heinous. This one was pretty extra because
what did they show? What did they actually show?
At this point, yeah, they highlighted heavily the fact that she was between the giant cubes and she did the splits between the giant cubes, and it was like it's like Akbar freaking out, she's doing the splits, all this stuff. So
what?
At this point, it's already known that she gets to the giant cubes. It's already known. And I didn't know going in, like, after the preview, going into this episode, that the giant cubes was going to be like this crazy hard obstacle that would be like the ninja killer and the breaking point, right? But halfway through this episode, like, I already know what's going to happen. I already know she gets through the rolling thunder because the giant cubes, it's already known that she gets through that transfer. So that was like, it just killed it didn't kill all the excitement. That's too harsh. Because I really, really enjoyed everything about her run. I mean, it was so amazing. But it would have been so much better for me, and I have a feeling a lot of people at home, if they just didn't spoil that. It really wasn't needed. It could have just been very nebulous, kind of how they did this past week's episode, where, like, I'm not going to spoil too much, but let's just say, rather than showing Flex Lebrecht doing stuff, it's just voiceover of them freaking out, right? And they could have done the same thing with Jessie Graff, and it like, they didn't need to show that.
No, it's like showing Kevin Bull on Cannonball Alley. Like, you don't show that ahead of time. That takes away the whole fun and coolness of the moment. 100%. I am so glad I got to witness it without that.
It was frustrating.
There was other things they spoiled for me, but whatever. We'll get to that as well.
Mm-hmm. And just thinking about it now, the whole storyline is her getting through the rolling thunder, right? Like, couldn't they just show that? Just be like, well, she get past it. But moving on. Yeah, let's get into the episode, man.
Yeah, show her struggling towards the end of it. Like, make it question, whether is she going to beat it this time? Is she going to beat that or not? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's all you needed. But yeah, let's talk about the course a little bit before we get into the actual runs. like I said, the first part was okay. Like the first half of the course that we had from qualifiers, it was like middle tier.
Middle tier, but those wingnuts are very creative.
I like those.
I really like the rolling pin. It's whatever, right? But I like it.
Yeah, I don't like rolling pin really.
It's that obstacle is kind of the one that just like clears out. You know what? Yeah, never mind. The more I think about it, the more I'm not biggest fan of it either. But the Rolling Thunder, that's the one. I've always really enjoyed that. It's a very clear, like, it's a big jump in difficulty, but it's fair, unlike that hot mess of an obstacle, the hourglass drop. I'm never going to like it. I'm sorry, y'all. It's just not going to happen for me. But I've got to say, those giant cubes, dude. Like, going into it, were you expecting the giant cubes to be like that, like, legit? When they started describing it, I'm like, oh, there's some complexity to this. And I really like the fact that it looks so simple, but its level of difficulty is so extreme.
Very difficult, very fair. Not a big fan. I don't like them really at all. I thought they were kind of boring to watch.
Is it like the visual aspect or what?
Yeah, it's purely visual. It's all it really is. I don't like the challenge that it presents. I guess especially after Rolling Thunder and stuff. I just think it's just too much, and it's just not all that interesting. Jessie kind of redeems it a little bit because that moment was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of them. I like the circuit board more and more every time I see it, though.
Well, that's the next part. I was for everybody that doesn't remember, I was not a fan of the circuit board last year. I didn't think it deserved the spot of being the penultimate obstacle. This circuit board, oh boy. If they can't higher the difficulty of the physical aspects of the circuit board, right? Because circuit board, and the main reason I was harping on is like, come on, I can do the circuit board they presented last year, I should say. I can do that because I've done it. This new one, though, there's so many complexities to that circuit board where, like, the hand mounts are different sizes. They can only go into certain grooves, and the grooves actually, like, are very complex. And then in the last circuit board, they're very, very small. I mean, there's so many different mental aspects of it. It's not as much of a physical obstacle. I mean, definitely it's physical being the penultimate obstacle. Can't even talk anymore. But the mental aspects is really what makes it shine, and I really respect that. And I think they have something there where they can modify it even more and more. I really like how they presented it. Still to this day, though, I don't think it needs to be the penultimate obstacle. I think they could have easily switched the circuit board with the giant cubes. Just have that little switch, and it would have made it a little bit more interesting for me. With that said, going back to the giant cubes, I understand what you mean, man. It's a little plain. I think the only reason I like it so much is it reminds me a lot of what we see like online and stuff where like there's a chair and people are sitting on it and without touching the floor, they have to like wrap themselves completely underneath the chair or and up the other side of it. And it's kind of hard to explain, but if you guys ever look that kind of stuff up, it's really hard to do. And it kind of reminds me of that where you're kind of just like shimming around this like block with no spare give, and it's all slidey, and I don't know, it was kind of cool, but it visually I can understand where it really doesn't have much transition or action with it.
Yeah, it just kind of feels like an awkward I-beam cross or something, right? It just doesn't really engage my interest all that much as a fan. I get that it's hard. I can see that it's very, very, very difficult and involves a lot of techniques, but yeah, I don't know. It's fine.
So overall, how did you like the course, man?
It was okay. Kind of overall middle of the road. Not great. It had lots of great ninjas running it, which kind of helps it out a bit. But it's not my favorite, to be honest.
Interesting. I really liked it, honestly. I'd give it like a 7 out of 10, dude, because the difficulty's so high on this. I mean, we have the wing nuts. We have the Rolling Thunder, we've got the giant cubes and the circuit board and the elevator climb. I mean, those are all really, really hard to do. So even though the visual aspect of it isn't there, the difficulty certainly is there. It has some room for improvement, but I don't know. I liked it, man.
Yeah, no problems with the difficulty. As soon as I saw it, I was like, well, we might have another solo finisher, if anyone, looking at this thing. But yeah, so let's actually get into some of the runs. And I know we were so excited to see the first person taking the course. Eddie Stewart returning, the pec flexing guy, Bijan's favorite all season.
Why is he on my screen? No, that's too mean. But I was so happy going into it. I'm like, oh, they're just gonna let him run. Maybe he can redeem himself. Like, we don't have to have so many boobs bouncing and stuff. So whatever. And then I think he's about to run, right? And I'm like, yay, finally. And all of a sudden, let's have a vignette about him and his boobs. And I'm like, why? What is going on with my life? Like, who's doing this to me? It was short, it was fine, but why? At least it wasn't about the boobs.
Yeah, at least this time it was more reasonable. Did a little bounce at the beginning. That's all we needed last time. You don't need to go on like they did last time, and it was too much. He was okay. He took a beat. The guy takes a beating on the course. Like,
I'm really worried that he's gonna seriously rip a muscle in his shoulders. I mean, he keeps landing on his shoulders and neck really hard, and he's gonna hurt himself, dude. That guy needs to stop falling like that. That scares me to death every time.
Yeah, I thought for sure he had a serious injury when he came off the broken bridge. He hit his face on the rolling pin to start it all off. He comes head first off broken bridge in such an awkward way that I thought for sure he injured himself. Mm-hmm. But he kept going. He did a good job. He made it to the giant cubes. Made a good effort to pull himself up, but he's a big dude, and that's a hard transition, especially being the first
muscle
guy.
Dude. I mean, this is a big dude, but he's so muscular. I mean, if you've got that much muscle, you cannot be landing like that. You're gonna rip something very easily. I have to give him all the props in the world though, because this is a course that's not really built for somebody with that kind of weight. And that must have been very, very difficult for him. I mean, just holding himself up, think about it, the wing nuts, right? Followed by, the rolling thunder. That is not an obstacle built for a big dude. And, the giant cubes, that's asking a lot. So, I gotta give him all the props in the world, even though I can't stand his boob bouncing. I mean, you gotta give it up to him as an athlete. I mean, the guy definitely showed he gave it his all, and that was really cool of him. Yeah. Less boobs. More booty.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
I didn't.
We got a couple of fast forwards. We had Bree Widener, who ended up going out in the Rolling Thunder again. I was hoping to see her in Vegas, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen this year.
That sucks, man. I was really looking forward to her. She's so fun.
Yeah. All personality. Not just all personality, actually.
She's talented.
Very, very talented. We saw her in National Ninja League last week in our coverage of that as well. So it's great to see her doing the local circuits. That means she's gearing up for next year.
You have to imagine her sophomore year is going to be pretty legit, right, man?
Yeah.
I have a good feeling she's gonna show some stuff next year.
Yeah. We also get to see Brett Sims, who unfortunately went on the salmon ladder. Brett,
man,
jeez, he's always in contention, does really well, and then he has these little moments, and it sucks he's not going to be going to Vegas again.
Yeah, and you could see the disappointment in his face. I mean, that's rough. It's Brett Sims, y'all. He's one of the, I think, 7 people that's competed in every single season of American Ninja Warrior. There's not many, and he's one of them. And it's always hard to see somebody with that much experience fail on an obstacle that he should just demolish. I mean, it's a salmon ladder. He can probably do this thing in his sleep. So, it sucks.
Yeah, you can never ignore the salmon ladder. We know it can take out the best, right? It took out Grant McCartney already this season, too.
Yeah, good point, man.
So we next get Josh Butler, whose son unfortunately had a genetic disorder and died after 132 days. That's not normally that we get such a
gut punch,
an emotional story, I guess, in the city finals. But they ended up adopting another baby at the hospital with similar struggles, and their son was on the sidelines. It was actually really nice to see. Man, this one's so hard to talk about.
I know. It's hard to imagine, especially as somebody that's never had kids, and I'm sure, Rich, you can think about it even more, but you're struggling for over 100 days with, with your child, and, they're fighting, and, you're there throughout the entire struggle, and, that must have been really hard, and I give them a lot of props for not only, staying strong throughout that whole ordeal and showing their child all the love they can give, but also giving their all in love to another child with another similar situation. I mean, they could have gone the easy route in many aspects, and, nobody would discredit them of like adopting another child that's healthy or going for another, like having another child, but taking on that responsibility, especially when the kid that they adopted, that poor child's parents like almost abandoned them. I mean, that's really cool of them. It really is. Yeah,
Josh is a rookie who I wasn't sure how far he was going to go. I thought maybe they were just going for the emotional aspect here, but he did quite well. He had some close calls on the wingnuts, but he did end up beating Rolling Thunder by a hair, like just barely made it. And going on the salmon ladder, but a very solid run. Wish them all the best.
Yeah, that's really cool. And honestly, if, in my opinion, you get through the Rolling Thunder, I mean, you have to give them all the respect in the world. We've seen how difficult that is. And, the wingnuts and everything else are really difficult. Like, this guy really, really gave it his all. He didn't just come on this show to have a cool story and move on with his life. I mean, this guy really tried his hardest and really went for the entire thing. And, they even said he only had a few months of training. This isn't a guy that's been training for a long time. So if he really commits himself, I mean, he can really do some damage in this show. I don't know. I would really like to see them again. And honestly, I'd really like to see their child again and see that growth and development. This whole season's kind of been the theme of, telling more and more of their story, that where we see kind of like a next chapter in everybody's story. And I'd really like to see their next chapter. So I hope we see them again.
Yeah. And on a more lighthearted note, with the last name Butler, you knew Akbar was going to have a field day. Actually, both of them would have a field day the entire run. And of course they did.
I don't know. I don't need that in my life.
I know you're not a fan, but Butler is just asking for about 1,000 Akbarisms, which I'm sure ANW Akbarism chronicled them all for us. So make sure you follow them on Twitter once again.
Mm-hmm. Shout out. Dude's dope.
Next up, we had some fast forwards again. This time, Booty Cothran unfortunately got fast forwarded.
Booty! How are they skipping Booty?
Well,
that dude's just brimming with charisma, and
he is.
I mean, you just watch him, and I don't care if he's doing the damn floating steps or whatever. It's just like, how is he doing it?
Yeah, he did go to the Rolling Thunder again because, I think the thing outweighs him. It must be really, really tough to move that thing.
I can't believe he can even do a revolution on the Rolling Thunder, let alone get far into it. I mean, I want to see him on a different course. It's not fair. This guy has to do the damn Rolling Thunder. Oh, that's poor guy.
Yeah, so the Booty bandwagon is off the tracks again this season.
I'll always be on the Booty bandwagon, man. It's still rolling.
It is still rolling. We will see him again next year, I'm sure. Next I take the course was Michael Johnson. Another somewhat sad story, but a little bit redeemed. His mom passed away when he was young, but his aunt and grandmother raised him. And one thing that he kept, I cannot get the I have ice in my veins thing.
Man, I was going to ask you that. Seriously, I was all primed. I'm like, the whole time, I'm trying to figure out, why does he keep saying I have ice in my veins? So you didn't get it either.
No.
Okay, I thought I was the only one. I'm like, did I miss something?
Okay, I feel
really
much better that you didn't get it.
Why? Like, I'm sure he has a reasoning for it, but they didn't hit it at all. But yet they're hyping up his catchphrase. And it's kind of weird to say that, right? It's not like who goes around saying, I have ice in my veins? What does that mean?
It's so deliberate. Like, I've heard the expression before, right? That you're, cool under pressure and different things like that. But they're hammering it home so hard. It's like, it feels like there had to be more to it, doesn't it?
I mean, it's gotta be, dude. He's literally shouting it. When he's going on the course, he's like pointing to his veins. I mean, it feels like it's meaning something deeper. But I don't know if anybody at home got the reference of what he's alluding to, if it has something to do with the story or something, please let us know, because I really thought Rich had the answer of being like, man, I guess I just overlooked it. I was like, Rich knows everything. Maybe he knows.
And I'm thinking, this is probably some, hip young reference that I'm not catching or something. I don't know. And thought you had it, but I guess not.
Yeah, man. I'm 29 now, man. I'm old, so. Where's my walker?
He was a rookie, heavier guy, who also went out on the giant cubes. He just couldn't pull himself up. Kind of had similar struggle to Eddie Stewart.
Similar build, yeah. I didn't even realize that. Both these guys are just I don't know. Sometimes there's too much muscle for a show like American Ninja Warrior, right, Rich?
Well, I don't know. It works for some of them. I think the shorter guys, if they're like Jonathan Horton, I think his muscle's not really holding him back too much.
Yeah, and JJ Woods and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if you're bigger, though, I think you're holding up a lot of weight.
Next to take the course was Emily Durham, wakeboarding champion. She was able to beat the Wingnuts this time, and she ended up going out on Rolling Thunder, but she put in like a massive effort. Like, I love watching people, pushing their limits, and you can see it on her face. She was doing everything she could to beat that Rolling Thunder.
That was really cool. She spent a lot of time on that obstacle. She was not giving up, and I liked her little story too with her family. I mean, sometimes simple is fine as long as it's not, I don't know, almost abhorrently long, or something like that. And this was just fine. I kind of liked it, and they said this is her third year. That was interesting. I remember seeing her, or feels like I've seen her before, but not in a strong light. I think this is her first time being like super shown well, and I don't know. She kind of has that star quality to her. Obviously, she's pretty well under pressure by winning all these championships.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish her all the best, because that'd be really cool, having like a mid-30s mom do really, really well in American Ninja Warrior. That's got to be, that hits a whole different dynamic, and I kind of respect that a lot from her.
There's been a lot of complaints over the years about, and we've even complained a bit about them kind of ignoring Team Ninja Warrior or accomplishments of past from, American Ninja Challenge and Sasuke, but they're consistent. If it didn't happen on ANW on NBC, it didn't happen, because they said something about no mom has ever made it up the warped wall. Yes, they have, just not on American Ninja Warrior. Maybe they have on Team Ninja Warrior for sure.
Yeah, it's really weird how they separate that. I mean, I've heard all the arguments. Well, different audiences, blah blah blah, different networks and everything. It's still owned by the same company, and it's still the same show. If you're talking about wrestling, like WWE Raw doesn't act like WWE SmackDown doesn't exist, If you're doing UFC, they don't act like, a fighter or fighting a different organization doesn't exist, or whatever you want to talk about, right? Any sport or anything. It's very weird that they act like Team Ninja Warrior just doesn't really exist or matter. As a matter of fact, on ANW, I don't know if you've noticed this, Rich. I mean, I really feel like Wolfpack Ninjas and National Ninja Leagues got more shout-outs than Team Ninja Warrior. It's so weird, man.
Yeah. They're wearing shirts and stuff at least, so you're getting some publicity for Wolfpack. They even reference
the leagues, though, man. They seriously reference, the leagues. And yet, I think I've heard one or two references to a show called Team Ninja Warrior this entire season.
Well, they always call them local competitions. They don't really give them their full due, I guess, but it's something, at least.
I don't know, man. It's crazy.
Next up, we had some fast forwards, including Alexio Gomez, one of the Brazzy Bros, who missed on his leave to the second cube. But then we moved over to Rigel Henry.
This guy was so good. Oh, my God. Where has this guy been all my life? Dude, you have to pull up the clip of this guy. What was he saying again? How did it go, Rich? He had the greatest quote ever.
Geep.
No, not that. That was whatever. He's like, I'm an American Ninja Warrior, bruh, or something like that.
Yeah,
so
he's
awesome.
But they were making references to Spicoli and Fast Times at Ridgemont High the whole time. Come on. Most of your audience...
I'm aware of what that is, but I've never seen it. I feel like most of the audience hasn't.
Exactly. That is such a dated reference. Sean Penn hasn't been that character in so bloody long, since I was a kid.
I mean, come on. These movies and these references are dated more than over half the ninjas on this show. You think Drew Drechsel is sitting there being like, oh, I totally know that movie?
Well, that's the thing. They definitely, I get the reference because he does look a lot like him, and I get that. But through the whole run, they're making little shout outs to it. Like when Mike Myers takes the course and it's all references to Mike Myers movies. At least those are a little more modern and people will get them. All these things about his teachers and things are really? You're taking it way too far.
Yeah. Well, that said, I mean, this guy was so fun. I really liked
He
his
was,
vignette.
yeah.
He was funny. He's so funny, man. Even though I don't get the reference, I love how he talked with that. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
And yeah, this guy is actually a pretty legit athlete. I think he finished like in 4th this entire episode. I mean, the guy is no joke. And I don't know. This guy was great. I really like these new characters that actually are legit and not jokes. And this guy definitely brings a different dynamic where he's quite a character, but he also isn't just whatever. Like, he's fun, and he's somebody that we can definitely see more and more often, and I look forward to that. I really hope he takes in more of that, like, shaka bra type of attitude, because that is just hilarious.
Yeah, he was a rookie. He's very solid and fast. He stood up straight on the first cube, which I thought he would just be the first of many. I didn't see too many people actually attempt that, standing up on the first cube to kind of give their arms a rest. Mm-hmm. And he made the transition to the second, but failed the dismount from the side, which we did see Drew Drechsel accomplish at the end, but that doesn't mean that it's normally humanly possible.
Yeah, that's a good idea. But yeah, I think not many people went up there because just not many people were able to even stand up on that thing. I mean, that's a tough transition to have. And I don't know. I like everything about this guy. He's fun.
Yeah, so an odd choice for the dismount, but otherwise a very solid run, and be interesting to see if we continue to see him in the future. Well, we'll see him in Vegas. Next we had a fast forward for some other ninjas, including Rico Rivera, who failed the transition on the cubes, which we saw a lot this episode.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that transition, it looks pretty self-explanatory, but it's not that easy because there's no foot mounts or anything, man. I mean, I'm looking at it, I'm like, how are people making that thing look easy? There's no way in heck I could ever even imagine to figure out how to do that. So, props to them. Rico Rivera, man, he every year he goes so far, and yet they kind of overlook him a little bit, but he stands out because of his costume, right?
Yeah.
I mean, once again, we're going to see him in Vegas, and he's probably going to get to stage 2, or deep at least into stage 1, and they're probably just going to blow past him again.
Yep, they'll just get him to put on the dinosaur costume and run again for some YouTube hits.
Dude, I'm not going to be complaining about that. At this point, if you're Rico Rivera, just run in the dinosaur costume the whole time, man. Why
Might
not?
as well. Next up was Kevin Carbone, the super fan, the maker, who created the Wingnuts. Very excited to see him get some more love.
Yeah, I really like his dynamic of the course because, well, before we even talk about his run, did you see those 2 crazy obstacles he's building right now, dude?
Yes, I did. They look very cool.
Boy. If you're a Ninja Warrior, you've got to, like, look at that vignette, and your heart's got to sink and be like, oh, no. Like, I better start training right now, because there is probably a good reason they're showing these plans on the show. Like, I feel like, why don't the producers just hire this dude? This guy is so creative with his stuff, man. Yeah, that salmon ladder obstacle looked insane and really cool. I really like the dynamic of that. And the other one, I mean, it's kind of hard to explain, but you all saw it's like this weird cranking obstacle. I don't know. I think there's something there with that also. I mean, this guy's got the ideas, man.
Yeah, picture like crank it up, but you had to go out to the side to move it up. You can't just move it in a straight line. You've got to go out and up like pegs type situation.
At the very least, though, I can really see that pegboard salmon ladder really being implemented in one of these upcoming seasons of American Ninja Warrior, because that's really cool and creative. And if you think about it, when you do the pegboards or the pegs, you really have to use like really tight your grip strength in your forearms. And then you have to transition back right after doing it to a salmon ladder, which just strains it completely. Like, it just slams your forearms and you just lose your strength. So if you have to do that, it's going to like almost quadruple the difficulty of that salmon ladder. And there's a lot more dynamics than it probably even you can visually like see on the show. And yeah, I think that could be big trouble for a lot of people.
I think it could be huge for National Ninja League and other competitions. I can't see them using it on the show because I can't imagine where they would put it. They wouldn't replace the one they have and I don't know where else it would go.
Well, it definitely wouldn't be in stage 2 because that thing's going to take forever to to get through, right? But
Right.
yeah, I can see it at least in a qualifying round, but they usually save the salmon ladder for the final. So that's a very good point, Rich. With that said, yeah, I could definitely see that being implemented in a regional competition because it's just cool, and that just screams how regionals competitions work, right?
Yep. Yeah, it is perfect for that, and I think we'll probably see it. Wouldn't be too surprised because I can see someone watching that segment going, well, I guess we're building that tomorrow. So,
Yeah.
that's how they work in the National Ninja League, it seems. They just see something on TV and go and build it in no time whatsoever.
So, yeah, his run, because we didn't even hit that. So,
I was like, where are we at? Oh, right, we haven't talked about his run at all.
and what's crazy is his run's so good. I really like his approach to the course. He reminds me a lot of Joe Moravsky and some other ninjas, really the younger ninjas. I don't know, that's kind of been a theme I've noticed. These younger ninjas really think about their approach and technique with the course. And this guy has a very creative technique where it's not something where he's just going to take the same route that everybody else takes. He really takes his own route and really thinks about his approach to every obstacle and tries to use the least amount of energy for each obstacle. And that's a very important dynamic for this type of sport and show. And I really like how this guy does it.
Yeah, he really stood out when he twisted himself around to reach the top of the first cube. Like, it was a very, very good technique. It seemed to be the best way to tackle that particular obstacle. He did go out on the circuit board, but an extremely strong showing on a very tough course. Definitely something we're going to be keeping an eye on.
Yeah, and I mean, keep doing it, man. Keep building those obstacles. I can see him winning the build an obstacle or whatever it's called challenge like 3 years in a row until they finally hire him. It's like, all right, enough. You're hired.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, though, is remember, he didn't win this one. He got chosen and didn't know until he showed up there. Like, it was a weird,
He didn't
weird
win
story.
it? Who won then?
It was Kevin Brecky for the Crank It Up.
Oh, man. That's tough. I feel like there should be 2 winners because Crank It Up and Wingnuts are both very good. I think I might even like Wingnuts better than Crank It Up, but both are pretty awesome, so.
Yeah, I mean,
Man.
the whole crowdsourcing your obstacle design is a little odd, but it worked because all of the obstacles they brought in are pretty cool.
It definitely worked, yeah.
Next up, we had some more fast forwards, including Ryan Stratus, who ended up falling on the cube transition, which kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And Tyler Gillette got fast forwarded, who went on the circuit board. And I apologize that we totally missed last week on the National Ninja League that Tyler Gillette was a known ninja. We have seen him before, and we didn't recognize his name. It just happens sometimes.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting that they showed 2 ninjas get very deep into the course, but like kind of overlook it. And we get much more highlights of people not getting as far, like making it to the giant cubes and failing. So that's pretty interesting. I feel like on this show, if you make it to the circuit board, at least give them like a half a run. Like, give them some love.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't take too much issue with the editing in this episode. I thought it was pretty good overall.
Yeah, me neither. Just, I don't know. I wish I got to see more of their runs, because in this episode, you get past the giant cubes, I'm perking up and I'm paying attention.
The only one I would kind of take a little exception to is Ryan Stratus, because I'm pretty sure he was fast forwarded, and so was Travis Rosen, both in the qualifiers. Like, they need to get featured in one or the other. You can't give Eddie Stewart, a little segment in both and not give one to those guys. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Less boobs, more beard.
Yes.
I can do it all night, y'all.
Next up was JJ Woods, who was running for 8-year-old Zoe, a family friend, and who's battling stage 4 neuroblastoma. Another one of those stories, and but pretty positive overall, I guess. He was saying that she's like the strongest person he knows, and I like that. I like the sincerity in him saying that. I really felt like he believes that.
Yeah, and once again, it just highlights his personality of, like, in many cases, he always kind of came off as really overconfident and all that stuff, And in many ways, these past 2 vignettes he's shown, he's a lot more humble, a lot more loving and caring, and I feel like this shows off more of his inner personality. We've always heard how awesome he is, but he was always portrayed kind of as a different person, and this side of him, I really like that they're highlighting it. It really makes him more down to earth, and makes you more connected to him and feel for him and cheer on him more. So I really like that aspect of it.
Yeah, I think they've done that with a few ninjas this season, and I like it. I like that they featured that for Brandon Mears as well, where, we don't need as much bro stuff. Let's see what they're really like at home and stuff. And it was good. And I definitely feel that about JJ as well.
Mm-hmm. And I like the fact that he, learned from other runners. I mean, he did the little swing around technique also on the giant cubes. And, I mean, this guy made it to the freaking elevator climb. Was he the first one this night that actually made it there?
Yeah, I believe he was.
That was awesome. And, this is a really tough course. Like, when you think about it, right, you get past the circuit board and you're already leaving and you're like, oh, man, he made it. And then you look at that giant ominous beast of the elevator climb and you're like, come on, man. Like, give these guys a break. It makes it just so much more special, though, when somebody's actually able to conquer it all. That was really cool.
Yeah, so we watched him throw his body at the elevator climb, and unfortunately wasn't able to quite do it. But a great run, great ninja, and we'll see how he did in Vegas.
Mm-hmm. I mean, how many people completed the LA qualifiers? Because these past 2 episodes, only one person's been able to complete the entire thing. So maybe we need to rethink the LA finals, that they are a lot easier than we originally thought or something. I have to go back and look at that course, dude.
I just think it wasn't maybe as upper body intensive. I don't think it was an easy course, but you get Rolling Thunder and the circuit board. I mean, what do you want from these people? Are you crazy?
Yeah. Everything straining your upper body. And I think the big key for this one is you're already hanging from your arms for a lot of these obstacles, right? So that lactic acid build and all that strain's already there going into an obstacle of the elevator climb, where that's all you're doing. So yeah, I can imagine it's a lot more painful for these guys doing it.
I mean, look at even Drew and Daniel, who were able to do it. Spoiler. But yeah, Drew and Daniel were just barely getting out. Both of them gave me a little scare because of the way they, put their feet up well over their head to actually get off of the obstacle as fast as they could, because their arms were just killing them.
They can fall back and miss that pad, and that's what scares me, because the way they're angled, they can easily miss that pad, and that's going to be bad times for everybody involved with this show. I really hope it never comes to that, but they might need to rethink that whole pad, extend it a little bit more out. I don't know.
Bring it up closer. When they're up to that point, get it up a lot closer than it is. They keep it well below them at that point, and I don't know why they keep it so low. Next on the course was Lindsay Eskildsen, a gymnast for 12 years, a WNBA cheerleader. They had a little segment on her and Ninja Joe Green from Alabama, and the long-distance flights that she has to take to keep this dating going that they're doing.
Dude, that's some commitment. That is some commitment.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a lot of flying. I hope that dude's putting in his share in the relationship also, because she's putting her miles.
I was thinking that too. Does she work for, know somebody who works for the airline industry? How is she affording to go back and forth? What is he doing? I hope he's making his fair trips out there.
You better, dude. With that said, I mean, props to this woman. She's kicking butt on this show. I mean, I was going into this just judging, I guess, size or whatever, and I'd be like, man, she's gonna do well, but there's obstacles like the Rolling Thunder, and it's what is she gonna do? Right? But she really, really impressed me a lot, and the commitment, and not just that, the poise that she had with a lot of these really tough obstacles really impressed me.
Poise? I mean, no disrespect, but I mean, she was getting smacked in the face by the obstacles. I don't know if I would use poise as the word for that, but she's tough.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Tough, poise might not be the right word, but when she's doing these transitions and she's hitting her head and all that, she's still staying calm. So I guess calm under pressure is a better terminology for it. But yeah, the way, because when you see her hitting her face on that Rolling Thunder, most people would fall immediately, right? And she's just keep on moving, acting like it didn't even faze her. It wasn't even that it hit her. It's that it didn't even seem to bother her. I forget if it's the boob bouncing guy or somebody, but somebody busted their lip earlier in this episode. And every chance they got, they kept checking on it. And it's like, you gotta keep moving, dude. And for her, she smacks her face hard, and she acts like she's not even fazed about it.
Yeah, it was Eddie, the pec flexing guy. Yeah, she got smacked on the rolling pin first, which she didn't even notice at the time. They replayed it on the big screen, which was kind of cool. And then, yeah, she's tough, man. She made it to Rolling Thunder. She was the fastest woman prior to Jessie's run, so that meant that she is going to Vegas.
Yeah, and she got so far, man. I really thought she was going to complete it. Like, she was right there at the end. All she had to do was lâcher. She was in prime position. I really wanted to see her go even further. We've got next year, man. We have Vegas, right? So, yeah. I mean, I don't know. This woman, she's really impressive to me. Like, really impressive.
She got a spin or two more on that Rolling Thunder than I thought she was going to, because I thought she was done, and then she just pulled it a little more and pulled it a little more. It's like, wow, she is seriously getting far on that thing. So yeah,
she was up there for a while. Like,
yeah. Next up, we had some more fast forwards, including Lucas Gomez, one of the Brazzy Bros. I know you're so disappointed that you're both fast forwarded. Who also fell on giant cubes.
Yep, moving on.
Moving on. Sean Darling-Hammond, Giving Ninja, got some love.
I like the fact that they highlighted, like, I was unaware of how charitable this guy is. Like, he's going to win the $1 million and not even, like, keep a cent of it. And that he, like, does all of this, like, when they're going over this guy's background, and I'm like, what am I doing with my life? This guy sounds so amazing. Like, I don't know. We need to, if there's one guy where we need a vignette of like his total background and history, it's this guy. It sounds like he's got a really, really cool story.
He does. And he's very cool, very deserving. But I want to say that this is a perfect example of how to cram in more runs in a very good way. To give some love to the ninja himself. They had little, like, picture-in-picture of him giving out sandwiches that he brought to the walk-on and stuff while he's running the course. They joined mid-run. They're showing little segments at the bottom. I was like, this is fantastic. Condense it down. Get more in. This is a great way to do it.
Yeah, good point. I really enjoyed that, too. The fact that they're getting his story across while also highlighting, like, the important parts of his run. They got through the fat, and they really condensed all the important parts all into one, and it really made for a very enjoyable run, man. I mean, I was cheering him on the entire way.
Yeah, he was able to beat the giant cubes. He was solid on the circuit board, but he was struggling near the end, but he did make the dismount, which was great. We get to see him try the elevator climb, but unfortunately he did struggle with it and ultimately fall there as well.
Yeah, but he definitely showed that he's a definite gamer, and I really liked his approach to the circuit board. He definitely, like, he really thought about his approach doing that, and I like the fact that he kind of just shade past the final one, because that final circuit board looks like an absolute nightmare with those short circuits. I hope, like, next year they make it a point where that short circuit, like that short segmented circuit board, maybe is in the middle where somebody actually has to get through that, because that part looks really difficult to do.
Yeah, it definitely, as soon as you see it, it seems like such a small change, but then when you stop and realize as they're trying to make their way through it, it's like, oh, that is not good. That is going to make this way harder.
Yeah, I can see if they make it like in the middle. I can see a lot of people just sliding out halfway through that thing.
Next to take the course was a young unknown named Jessie Graff. Promising prospect.
I don't know. I think she's over the hill, man. She's just
She is freaking phenomenal. She is nothing but viral videos, right? She could just make them all day long. I don't understand how she manages to do it every time.
She's so good.
She's everything that they could possibly want for this show wrapped into one package.
Not just that. I mean, when she runs, the way she approaches each obstacle, it's almost like, yeah, I'm a woman, and let me show you how a woman's going to tackle this course in various creative ways, where she's doing the splits. She's doing things where she's, like, using the fact that she's, weighing less than a lot of the competitors to her advantage. Nothing that she has, or people are like, oh, that's a disadvantage or whatever. She uses all of it to her advantage, and she makes it like top tier. I mean, we look at her and then we look at Drew Drechsel, and we're looking at the two top people in the game using their own like physical abilities to the most in various different approaches. And I love that about her, that, you know, she's like in a class of her own. Maybe Flex LeBrec is up there with her, but I mean, it's a very small company up on that top of that mountain peak, and man, it's always just phenomenal to watch her run. And I don't know about you, man, I really thought she had that elevator climb also. I was stunned. I mean, going into that final, like, she flew past giant cubes. The circuit board, she kept being so calm, figuring it out, making it look like nothing was phasing her. And then you get this ominous shot. And it was one of the coolest shots I've ever seen in American Ninja Warrior. And, Rich, if you do screen grabs for each episode, this has to be a screen grab of her just finishing the circuit board. And they have this like lower shot of her looking up at the elevator climb tower, and it's the most ominous thing imaginable. It looks like straight out of like a video game, and it's like, how is she gonna do it? And she flies up that thing, and I don't know, I really thought she had it too.
I did for a second. I originally thought, you know, she can't possibly have enough left to complete this elevator climb. I thought that of everybody that got to it, and she started going, and I thought, oh my god, if she does this, like, the internet's broken. You might as well. And Akbar said if she beats this thing, he's going to run up to the top of that thing. And I thought he might actually have to do it. You can't ever doubt her. You just never know what she's going to do next. I was so hopeful she would do it. But in the end, she wasn't quite able to do it. Just smiling, just grinning ear to ear the whole time she was on that course. She is amazing. And I can't say it enough.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. I mean, once again, just I really, really wish they didn't spoil up to that point, because going to the giant cubes, I already knew she passed it, and I really wish I had that excitement of her getting through the rolling thunder. I mean, I was excited, but like that will she be able to do it, you know? Because I think she deserves that, you know. It's part of her story, and she really had to struggle and force her way throughout all these obstacles up to that point. So it really sucks for her and her fans that they already knew that she'd get to the giant cubes. So anything past the giant cubes was amazing for me. I was at the edge of my seat. But I don't know. I really wish I was able to feel that experience the entire way through. With that said, I mean, this was, once again, a part of Jessie Graff's story of just being one of the most all-time, all-around greatest athletes, not even female athletes, but athletes in general in this sport. And once again, you're tied for the athletically profound run of the night. Congratulations, Jessie Graff. Absolutely, absolutely amazing stuff.
First time I've gotten chills this season from a run. It was great. Loved it. I'm glad I didn't spoil it. I hope most of you weren't spoiled by it, but I highly recommend you avoid watching any previews going forward.
Yeah, because, dude, these ANW editors, they do not care.
No.
Stay away.
No. So then we had a fast forward of Travis Rosen, which I referenced earlier this episode, who ended up doing the splits on the cubes too, which was pretty cool. He did go out on the circuit board, but another solid run from Travis, and he'll be back in Vegas once again.
So happy for him. He's so good.
Yeah, I hope he gets featured in Vegas because he's definitely overdue.
Mm-hmm. At least he'll be featured on a little show called Team Ninja Warrior.
Yes, he will. And the final run of the night, Mr. Drew Drechsel, car salesman extraordinaire, coming to the rescue.
Are they just looking for stories for this guy now? Like,
yeah, they've run out of stories. It's official.
I'm like, what? Why are we talking about him? Like, this is straight up like freaking like Jump City Seattle, ANW season like 2 and 3 and stuff, where it's like they're just finding whatever about these guys. And it's like, this guy's got to go super far this season, dude, because they're grasping at straws for his story, because he said everything about Drew Drechsel at this point. I don't know. I'm feeling very confident that Drew Drechsel is getting quite far, because what the heck was the purpose of that? But with that said, I mean, Drew Drechsel once again is so amazing. He's always showing why he's the main guy. He's at the very top of this sport. And, you know, just, I don't even know what to say about him at this point. He just makes these really impossible looking obstacles look like child's play. and it's just next level stuff. Drew Drechsel, congratulations. You are tied with Jessie Graff for the Athletically Profound Run of the Night. Congratulations.
Yeah, there's not much to say. If you didn't watch a whole episode of top competitors fail at it, you would think it wasn't that hard of a course watching him go through it. He is just next level, amazing. And yeah, 17 seconds on the Rolling Thunder. Just all around stronger every year and primed to take down Midoriyama.
Mm-hmm. You think somebody's getting to stage 4 this year?
Yeah, I do. I think I think I really have thought that last year for him, and I definitely think this year he can.
I go back and forth, and I really feel like if Drew Drechsel makes it to stage 3, I think he's making it stage 4. And I think we might even have 2. I can see Daniel Gill. I can see... I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on him. I can see Ian Dory making a stage 4. I'll need to stop sleeping on that guy. I can see a few people that have a chance, but... I think we all agree if there's one person that we can all agree on that can easily make a stage 4, it's got to be Drew Drechsel. This is his year. You feel it, right? And in many ways, I kind of feel like the dark horse is Daniel Gill. I feel like this could be his year also. Yeah,
the only person I would put on par with Drew for the possibility of getting to stage 4 would be Joe Moravsky, I think.
That's another one, yeah.
Yeah, he's so unbelievably consistent and strong, and that same level of just making things look easy that aren't. I think, but yeah, Daniel, Josh Levin. I mean, there's a few of them that could definitely do it. I just think Drew and Joe are the top contenders, probably.
That's a good point, because like you can at least see a hole in every, or like an obstacle that would take everybody out. But it's really hard for me to name an obstacle that's going to take out Joe Moravsky or Drew Drechsel. Those are the two, man. I mean, obviously, you could say, well, it's the rock climbing blah, blah, blah for Drew Drechsel because he failed 2 years in a row. But, like, I don't see him failing this year on that. I really don't.
Yeah, and I think Joe, it'll just be a matter of how much time he had to train this year versus other years. I think if he takes the time to do it, I think he can take it down.
Mm-hmm. You know that guy's competitive. It's going to be really interesting. It really is. And I'm excited for that. Yeah, I was just curious, because... I kind of have that feeling too, where this is going to be a year again where people, I don't think there's going to be so much change up from last year when it comes to the Vegas finals, right? And I feel like people have gotten a chance to train on these new obstacles like the wedge and stuff. And I feel like this year we're going to see a lot more people at least making it to stage 3 and possibly stage 4.
Yeah, it's hard to say. We've had some weird years where just people were falling all over the place for seemingly not no reason, but just randomly, like top competitors going out in the first steps. So we'll see how this goes this year.
I think if there's one key, though, I mean, the weather in Vegas when the Vegas finals were filmed. I mean, it was in the hundreds, guys.
Oh,
insane
right.
humidity.
No. Oh,
yeah.
no.
So if there's one thing, you might see some heat stroke or some sweaty palms up on that course. That's all I gotta say. But we can get into that another time. But yeah, I think that might be a key to this if a lot of people fail. That salmon ladder is going to be a lot more difficult, right?
Yeah, among other things. So, oh God, the flying bar. Oh boy.
Ugh.
Moving over to crashing the course, as we mentioned at the beginning of the episode, it was for the Daytona Beach episode, obviously, including the giant cubes. And I did have a little feature in the middle, and it was featuring Nikki Lee from ANW9. Nikki is amazing. Keeps us all informed of what's going on in the ninja community. Tries to energize
me so much right now.
The social media, and yeah, not distracting at all to have to go through all that. But anyway, yeah. No, it was
shout
great.
out to you, Rich. That was so awesome. For real though. It was so refreshing seeing people behind the scenes that are so important in the ninja community, especially Nikki Lee. I mean, if you guys aren't on ANW Nation, I mean, the things she does for the show is just so amazing. Huge shout out. I really like seeing her featured. I feel like we should see, like, we have more opportunities to see her more. That'd be really cool. She can really be somebody special, representing a lot of the diehard fans on the internet, I think video features might be more in her future, She seems comfortable in everything in front of the camera.
She does.
And yeah, this Rich dude, I don't know. He looks like a cool dude and everything. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know about that facial hair. It kind of looks like Wolverine or something, but pretty dope.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. It was very cool, actually.
Some of that dude's jersey, though. What did that say?
Yeah,
armchair
let's cut that off.
Like armchair dude? Or
I was a little to be honest, I was very excited. I'm very happy to have been featured. I thought it was very cool. I was a little disappointed that the podcast wasn't mentioned and my jersey's a little cut off, so you can't see that. But whatever. At the end of the day, it was still cool to be on there. And yeah, kind of neat.
Yeah, I'm really happy for you, bro. I'm sure your family was just ecstatic and excited to see it. And yeah, I mean, I don't really care if the podcast is featured. I understand there's like, like NBC people be like, no naming other things, like they're not naming even Team Ninja Warrior. They're not going to name Armchair Ninja Podcast. I understand that. I'm happy that you're featured and Nikki was featured, and props to you guys. I mean, it's really cool hearing you.
Yeah, it was funny because Will from the Final Stage podcast had actually called it out. I didn't know it was going to be on there until I got tweeted at by him. He caught it right away and let me know it was there. And speaking of, I should mention, if you haven't checked it out, 222 Productions, I'll put a link below. Will has been doing little video coverage of the qualifiers and finals for ANW every week on YouTube. So if you want to check them out, very good. He says 20 minutes. It usually runs a little long, 20 to 30 minutes, little segments where he offers his perspective for those that would like to hear someone other than us yammer on about it.
Yeah, shout out to Will, man.
So that is it for this week. Thank you all for listening once again. If you could, please stop by our Facebook page. It's kind of a great way to keep up to date on when we release episodes, and we share with some other ninja news as it comes in. I think it's something we don't drive home enough. Facebook page, search for Armchair Ninja Podcast, and give us a like. That would be great. And if you'd like to reach out to me, you can reach me as rich@ninjapodcast.com. I am at Ninja Podcast on both Instagram and Twitter. And Bijan, how can they reach you?
Hit me up at Twitter and Instagram at Bijan151. That is Bijan 151.
All right. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you have a spectacular week.
Yes. Peace and love, y'all.